Hello and welcome to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to make this really lovely card using the Plaid Builder dies and the Peony dies and Peony stamp sets. So there's quite a few steps in this. Some of them I have pre-done already, but I'll just go through all the supplies we're using to start with, and then we'll start building the card. So you are going to need a basic gray card base. You'll need 2 pieces of Whisper White in 5 1/4 by 4. One is for the card front, the other is for inside the card. Because we're using basic gray, it's easier to write if it's a light inside. So that's 2 pieces of Whisper White, 5 1/4 by 4. We are going to need the Peony Garden DSP in 5 1/4 by 4. I'm using the marbled piece here. We will need a piece of basic gray in 5 1/4 by 4, as well as a piece of the adhesive. Just makes it easier to stick the grid on. You'll need the best Plaid Builder dies to do this. And you will need the Stampin Blends in Petal Pink, light and dark, Old Olive, light and dark, and Daffodil Delight in the light. The Daffodil Delight I used to color in the center, and then the Petal Pink, light and dark, I used for the peony, and then the Old Olive, light and dark, I used for the leaves. I have already cut out some of the items using the Peony die set. We've also used the Stitched So Sweetly die to cut out the greeting. And the greeting for this card is, "Your sweet friendship refreshes the soul." So we've got our best Plaid Builder dies, we've got the Peony dies, we've got the Stitched So Sweetly die. We have got the prized Peony stamp set and basic gray ink. We'll also need, as I said, the adhesive sheet, some Stampin' Seal, and some Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're going to use Post-it notes to hold the dies in place. I am using the new Stampin' Up cut and emboss machine today. That's why I haven't cut everything out, is because I wanted to show how things work with the Stampin' Emboss machine, or the cut and emboss machine. I also, just for fun, I stamped on the outside of the envelope with the peony as well. So let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to use basic gray and the stamps, and you're going to stamp your peonies. You're going to need 2 peonies and 4 leaves on a scrap of Whisper White, so that you've got 2 flowers, 4 leaves on the front. You're going to need 1 peony stamped on your Whisper White inside the card, and you are going to need to stamp your greeting also on a scrap of Whisper White. We're going to do the stamping, and we're going to let the stamps dry. Because we're using the Stampin' Blends, we just want to give it a chance to just settle a little bit before we start coloring on it. So we're going to cut the grids out here for the plaid. It's best when you're using the adhesive sheets if you peel back the cover, lay your piece on, put the cover back down, and cut it out. But today I haven't done that. I've just cut the piece out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel back a little bit, just one corner, and I'm going to line this up so that it matches, and then I'll peel the rest off. And it ends up so that you don't have to try and aim it or anything. So we've got that. We're going to run it through the cut and emboss machine. And to do that, we need the basic sandwich. We've got our base. We've got our base plate here. We've got our die cutting shim plate. And then we've got our cut and emboss plates, the cutting plates. So we're going to line this up. And these dies are bigger than you need them to be. So you just line up how you'd like it to be. And so I've got my sides lined up, and it's even from the top. I'm just going to sandwich that up. And then I'll put it through the cut and emboss machine. It runs really smoothly. It's really a nice machine to use. These Best Plaid dies are just a little bit thicker and take a little bit more oomph to get through the machine. But what you can see with this now is we've got all these nice blocks, and they've got adhesive on the back. So if you wanted to keep these, I don't know if you're like me and you like to keep all your little bits, you can save those. They're pre-stuck. You can use them to cut out, say, stars or hearts or something like that, whatever you'd like to cut out. And then, of course, in here now, you have your grid with the adhesive on the back. So we'll just set that aside for now, and we will cut out the more detailed piece. So we're going to line this one up as well, very similarly to how we lined the other one up, so that the grid will come across it. You do your best to make sure it's straight so that your grid lines up. And if you want to see what it's going to look like, you can lay your grid over top so that you can see what it's going to look like. And again, we sandwich this up and we lift it up and we run it through the machine. So we'll get it started. And we'll run it through. And like I say, these Best Plaid Builder dies are just a little bit thicker. They just take a bit more to get them through. So then we need to get our piece out, and we're going to use our brush, our detailed brush, just to get all those little bits out. Okay, and I'll just make sure the last of the bits are out. And what you'll need to do here is clean off your plate, and you just use the other plate and just scrape everything off. Make sure you've got everything off your plates, because if you don't, you'll end up embossing that little piece into your next project. So we'll just move all this out of the way because we're finished with it. And once you've done that, you can color in your flowers, your peonies and your leaves. Now we've already done that. So there is going to be a magnetic base available for the cut and emboss machine. It's not available just yet. I managed to do the pre-order on this, so I'm just going to use Post-it notes to hold the pieces in place so that they don't move when we're sandwiching them or putting them through the machine. So I'll just put the leaf dies down like that, and we will stick those down with the Post-it note. It just helps hold everything in place. So then we'll put this through the sandwich and we'll run it through the machine. These ones go through much easier. The Best Plaid Builder dies are just that little bit, like I say, just that little bit thicker, and they're bigger dies as well. So, and we just take our Post-it notes off, just put them off to the side, and then we have this all cut out. I'm making a huge mess here today. Usually I'm not quite this untidy, but there's a lot going on with what we're doing today. All right, so we're going to start building the card. We're going to take our blank Whisper White piece. We are going to use our Stampin' Seal adhesive, and we're just going to grab a couple of these. And this one is just a little bit trickier because you're doing a short run, ticking it off, and you know if you get that long string that it's going to not advance the tape. So we're just going to do a few of those, and we'll stick it down to the front of the card. And they are the same size, so you need to line them up so that they are even. Okay, there we go. Now, you can kind of prejudge how you'd like this to go. Sometimes they're a little bit off. This one is really quite even. So we're just going to take the backing off. This is now sticky, so you don't have to worry about using a glue pen or anything to stick this down. You're going to line it up as best you can without putting too much pressure on it so that it stays where you need it to go. And then you drop it down like that. Okay, so that's the kind of window pane effect. And you can stick all the pieces down because there's adhesive all over the back of that, so it'll hold everything in place as well. I like to put the greeting on first because then I can judge where I'm going to put the flowers. So we'll just use a couple of dimensionals on the back of here. And we'll put this down. I put it just a little bit above the center line in the card, and then we'll put adhesive or dimensionals on. Oh, that gave me a lot of dimensionals, didn't it? We'll put the dimensionals on the back of here. We can use a couple of the large ones on the leaves as well. So then you take the back off your dimensionals, and you can kind of line it up how you'd like it to be. And it doesn't matter if it overlaps the side just a little bit because you are matting this onto the card front. So if it extends over a little bit, it just adds interest. So we'll put those down, and we'll put the large leaves in. And the leaves kind of have a direction to them, so they tend to go one way or the other, so you can kind of plan where you'd like them to go. I like that one there. And then we'll put this one on the bottom here, just like that. And then we need the small dimensionals for the little leaves. If you don't have the small dimensionals, you can always cut large ones in half. I just find it more convenient to have the small dimensionals on hand. And then you just tuck those leaves in like that. And we'll add this leaf in down here. Just like that. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to use our Stampin' Seal again. And we're going to, there we go. And we will, oh, it didn't go so well over the middle, but there we go. Perfect. All right, now we are going to attach it to the front of the card. And again, we just line it up as we normally do and drop it down. And there you have it with the liner inside, a little bit of detail, and the envelope to match. So thank you very much for watching this video today. Please remember to subscribe and click notifications so that you get notified when we have a new video up. And if there is anything that you'd like to purchase, please use the links below. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.